Hello, ladies and gentlemen. This is Mr. Cunningham, and even though I am not in class today, I still wanted to be able to teach you guys. So, remember yesterday we were talking about rate of change and also proportions. So, today what I have planned for you is I'm just going to kind of walk you through some problems on how we solve proportions, and that will help you on your worksheet that you'll need to complete for today. So, let's look at some examples of proportions, and also let's kind of recap what we did yesterday.
So let's look at how we can solve these proportions. So remember yesterday we talked about rate of change, okay? And rate of change is just something changing over a certain amount of time, okay? So remember we can use rate of change to make something called a ratio. And so what I've done here is 60 miles per hour can be changed into a ratio, which is something over something else. So 60 miles per hour means that we'll go 60 miles in 1 hour. So 60 miles over 1 hour is an example of a ratio. And when we do proportions, we set up ratios. So here in the green, you have 2 over 1. That's an example of a ratio. Now in the yellow, the entire problem is what we would call a proportion. Okay, proportion means we're comparing one ratio to another ratio. And using this, we're going to try to find C. So even though this is a simple problem, let's walk through this so that we can remember how to do proportions. So here we have our proportion. We have 2 over 1 is equal to C over 4. So remember yesterday, the first thing that we do once we have our proportion is we need to do something that's called cross multiply. Okay? So the nice thing that I like about cross multiplying is when you draw your arrows, it tells you what you're doing. If you'll look at the red, it makes an X, and in math, when you have an X, that means to multiply. So we're going to cross multiply, so that gives us 2 times 4 is equal to 1 times C. So if we just do our 2 times 4, then that will give us our answer of 8. So to make this proportion true, C would have to be equal to 8. So that was a pretty easy one, but let's look at another one. So here we have 7 over t is equal to 28 over 12. So remember, just like we did in the last problem, we need to cross multiply. So we do our cross multiplication, and that gives us that 7 times 12 is equal to 28 times t. Okay? So we do our 7 times 12, and that means that 84 is equal to 28 times t. So now, carrying over our work to the next slide, we have 84 is equal to 28 times t. And remember, we've been practicing equations the past week or two. So in order to just get t by itself, we need to divide by 28. So when we divide by 28 on both sides, we can cross out our 28s, which means that we get that 3 is equal to t. So to satisfy this proportion, t would have to be equal to 3.
Well, that's going to end the walkthrough for how you do and solve proportions. So now you guys can get started on your assignment for today. So good luck, and I will see you tomorrow.